Maybe the next Spider-Mans. You know, those are going to be fantastic, and I think Tom's just a great actor, so that might be a fun one to pop up into. I like seeing Cap play mentor to anybody, you know what I mean? He's been through so much, and I think he's a good man, so anytime he can take anyone under his wing, that'd be great. I hope Marvel pulls that off.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. We just found out a whole bunch about Carnage in the Spider-Man universe, and there's going to be another Avenger in the next Spider-Man movie. I, of course, have some theories about that, so I'll explain what's going on. Bunch of Spider-Man stuff happening. There's a new round of the giveaway too for those action figures. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. The biggest stuff is that Carnage is supposed to be the villain of the Venom movie, which isn't a huge surprise. I'll talk about that in a second. But there's a confirmed Avenger that is going to take the team-up slot in Spider-Man Homecoming 2 that Iron Man currently has in this movie. So that's like the other really big thing. And they did make it sound like it was going to be an Earth-based Avenger. I have some theories about who that's going to be. They said A-list, so I'll talk about that after Carnage, because the second Spider-Man film isn't going to drop till after the fourth Avengers film. So you're going to get all of the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet saga, then you'll get your Spider-Man Avengers team up.
I want the power. I deserve the power.
This is a symbiote, a living organism. It must bond with you.
You hear that Carnage is in the Spider-Man movie, and then you think, wait a minute, that means that he's technically part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then you just think about that Kevin Feige reaction video where he just like, oh, Jesus, do we have to deal with Carnage now? He's like that drunk uncle that you're not really sure if you want him to come to Christmas dinner because you're doing something really special and you think that he might mess it up. So I think that Carnage is a great character. He's perfect for the Venom movie, but I don't think that they're ever going to have to really deal with him in a big way in any of the Marvel movies. Whatever you think the level of connection is between Marvel and the Sony Spider-Verse. Because the other big piece of news is that they're developing spin-off movies for the other Sinister Six characters, so very clearly it sounds like Sony is trying to turn the Sinister Six into their Suicide Squad eventually, so if they have enough early success, they could actually do a Sinister Six movie without Spider-Man, and they would just go after Carnage or somebody that's even worse. So I feel like that would probably be the preferable scenario, because if you're going to have all this Avengers Spider-Man stuff happening, then it's going to get way confusing if you see him jumping back and forth between movies that don't reference each other. And one of the big problems that Marvel had with the Spider-Man character before this big renaissance is that he was completely oversaturated. So Spider-Man is always going to be one of the world's most popular comic book characters, but you put him in too many movies in too short a time span, and eventually people just get fatigued. So if the Venom movie is going to be Venom versus Carnage, then obviously there's not going to be too much Spider-Man in it, and I think people will be happy with that. You have to deal with the origin of the symbiote so that you can explain where Venom came from, then you can explain where Carnage came from, because the Carnage symbiote is just offspring of the Venom symbiote. It's like a living organism, so it can give birth. You don't really learn about where they come from till the Guardians of the Galaxy comic recently, just because Spider-Man picked it up during Secret Wars. And even though the Venom movie is supposed to be coming out at the end of next year, I don't think that they're going to deal with Secret Wars symbiote origin. I think they'll just deal with the symbiote when they get to the Venom movie. There'll be like a pre-credit sequence. There'll be a flash forward to something that happens down the road for our version of Spider-Man, where he gets the symbiote, then loses it, it finds Venom, then you can go from there. You're probably familiar with the Carnage origin story. You probably at least heard about the Maximum Carnage series. That was basically Spider-Man and Venom teaming up to take down Carnage. They could always do a version of Maximum Carnage. I've already done a couple of Carnage videos, so I'll link those at the end of this. But the really cool thing is we gotta cast him now. Who plays Carnage in the Marvel Universe? My number one pick, somebody asked me this on Twitter. I forget who you were, but I instantly thought of Dan Stevens because of his work on Legion. If you're looking for a really good actor who's really hot right now, who's just popping up in all the biggest movies, Dan Stevens is the person you want to get. He did an amazing job with the Legion character, who's a complete psychopath. Now, Cletus Cassidy is way worse than that, but I think that even though this Venom movie is supposed to be rated R, they will pull it a little back from comic book Carnage because he was really over the top. You look at some of those 90s comics and you're like, wow, I can't believe I read that when I was a little kid. And that's actually where I found the Carnage character. Imagine you're a little kid, you haven't read Spider-Man for a little while, and you walk by this, and you're like, oh my god, I have to read this. It looks like his suit is made of complete blood. What is going on here? And I think what they would like to see is that Venom becomes the lead of their Spider-Verse so that they don't have to worry too much about sticking Tom Holland in their movies. Moving on to Avengers Spider-Man team-up. So obviously Spider-Man is going to be in the Avengers movies, but because of the sharing arrangement with Sony is that they get to pick another A-list Avenger to put in the next Spider-Man solo movie. I'm not talking about Black Widow. I'm talking about Hulk. I'm talking about Captain America, maybe even Captain Marvel. Now, it's not dropping till after the 4th Avengers film, so it could be any of the new characters that they introduce, but it has to be one of the big A-list characters. They're already working on that sequel, so they probably already know who the next Avenger is going to be, but I think they're just waiting to see which actors want to continue to make Marvel films, because Chris Evans is done with his contract after the 4th Avengers film. So after that's done, he could totally walk away and never play the Captain America character again. But that's why I think that he's actually the top candidate to appear in that next Spider-Man film. So I think what they'll probably do is the Iron Man model, where you get your trilogy, like Iron Man got a trilogy, then he just started popping up in other people's films. All films are Iron Man films now. So I think that they really like the way that works, the chemistry that he has with the other characters. So one of the coolest parts of Civil War was Spider-Man and Captain America together on screen. So his friend from Brooklyn will probably pop up in that next film.
You got hard, kid. Where you from?
Queens?
Brooklyn.
But a lot of that just depends on Marvel's ability to woo Chris Evans back. Like, hey, why don't you sign a contract to just appear in these other films? You don't have to carry the entire film. It's still going to be a Spider-Man movie, but you show up for a little while, help him out, give him some guidance, and then you go off on your way. So anything could change. It could always be Doctor Strange. A Spider-Man Doctor Strange team-up would be badass. It would be super weird, but badass. I would say Ant-Man, but he's kind of B-list, and Captain Marvel is going to have her solo movie after that 4th Avengers film, so I think they're going to be too busy trying to set her up in her other film for her to be that main Avenger. So you're really talking about Captain America or the Hulk. And remember that Bruce Banner's picture is hanging up in Peter Parker's high school, so he admires all these people. And I think that Thor is mostly earmarked for more cosmic, weird things, so if he shows up in anyone else's films, I think it'll be the Guardians of the Galaxy films. But let me know in the comments, which Avenger do you want to team up with Spider-Man in the next Spider-Man film? I feel like any of them would be awesome. The embargo for Spider-Man reviews is up July 29th, so that's when my non-spoilery Homecoming review will post. But what's going to happen next is they released a whole bunch of information about Arrow Season 6, so I'll talk about the villain, I'll talk about the storylines, Deathstroke, all the people that may have died at the end of last season. But congratulations to the latest giveaway winner, Aaron Laughlin. Please private message me so I can get your contact details. While you wait for everything, click here for brand new Game of Thrones, and you can click here for that Kevin Feige funny video. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.